The gleaming hull of the Pathfinder reflected the sunlight as it orbited Earth. It was humanity's first faster-than-light vessel, the pride of the United Earth government, and a testament to human ingenuity. Captain Eric Mason stood on the bridge, his blue eyes scanning the readouts while his crew prepared for their historic first jump beyond the solar system. "All systems green, Captain," said Lieutenant Diane Foster from her station. "FTL drive is charged and ready." Eric nodded, trying to keep his excitement under control. At 42, he had spent his entire career working toward this moment. Send the final transmission to Earth Command. Let them know we're ready to make history. Unknown to the humans celebrating their achievement, they were being watched. In a cloaked vessel 50,000 kilometers away, 3 aliens observed the Pathfinder with great interest. They were Veldari, tall beings with silvery skin and large, multifaceted eyes that captured every detail of the human ship. "They have finally achieved it," said Exertal, the most senior of the 3. "After monitoring them for 70 Earth years, they have developed faster-than-light travel on their own." "Impressive for such a young species," replied Mevinar, the science officer, "but concerning. Their development rate exceeds our models by 30%. The third Veldari, Ambassador Zixtar, turned from the viewing screen. "The Council must be informed immediately. It is time to implement containment protocols." Back on Earth, in the underground facility of Earth Intelligence, Commander Sam Harris frowned at his computer screen. For months, their deep space monitoring arrays had been picking up strange energy signatures just beyond Neptune's orbit. Official channels said it was nothing to worry about, just background radiation, but Sam didn't believe that. "Commander, you should see this," called out Agent Penny Grant, waving him over to her station. "I ran that analysis you requested on. The anomalies, they're not random. There's a pattern, they appear exactly 12 hours apart, and they're directional." Sam leaned closer. "Someone's been watching us," he muttered. "For how long, based on our archived data?" "At least 15 years. Before Sam could respond, an alert sounded throughout the facility. The President was making an emergency broadcast to all security agencies. They rushed to the briefing room just as President Olivia Bennett's face appeared on the main screen. "People of Earth," she began, her voice steady but filled with excitement. "I bring extraordinary news. 1 hour ago, our deep space monitoring stations detected an approaching vessel of non-human origin. They have established communication and identified themselves as representatives of a galactic community of intelligent species. They come in peace and wish to welcome humanity to the stars." Sam exchanged a troubled glance with Penny. This was happening too fast. 3 days later, Sam stood in the back of a crowded auditorium as Ambassador Zixtar of the Veldari made his first public appearance. The silver-skinned alien stood tall beside President Bennett, his melodious voice carrying easily through the room. "We have watched your progress with great interest," the alien said. "Your achievement of faster-than-light travel has qualified you for formal contact. The Galactic Council represents over 300 spacefaring civilizations, all living together in harmony and mutual benefit." Sam noticed how the alien's eyes never stayed still, constantly scanning the room, the people, the exits. It was the behavior of someone assessing a potential threat. At the Massachusetts Institute of Science, Dr. Lisa Wright was not watching the alien ambassador's speech. Instead, she was focused on her instruments, which were collecting data on the 3 alien ships now in orbit around Earth. Her colleague, Dr. Peter Owens, stood beside her. "The energy signature doesn't match their stated propulsion system," Lisa said, pointing to her screen. "They told us they use a gravitational full drive, but these readings suggest something completely different." "Maybe our instruments are wrong?" Peter suggested. "We've never measured alien technology before," Lisa shook her head. "No, these readings are clear. They're lying about their technology. The question is, what else are they lying about?" Over the following weeks, humanity embraced their new alien friends with open arms. The Veldari shared selected technologies, medical advances, improved solar energy collection, enhanced communication systems. Earth governments eagerly installed these gifts and people celebrated in the streets, but Sam Harris remained suspicious. He used his security clearance to access data on the alien visitors and found inconsistencies in their story. The Council supposedly had protocols for contacting new spacefaring species, but the Veldari had arrived mere hours after the Pathfinder's FTL test. They had been waiting, ready. Sam arranged a secret meeting with Dr. Lisa Wright after reading her research papers questioning the alien technology. They met in a small coffee shop in Boston, away from official eyes. "The scanning patterns from their ships are all wrong," Lisa explained quietly. "They're not passive observations, they're active, deeply penetrating scans focused on our biology, our technology, our infrastructure." "I think they've been watching us for decades," Sam replied. "But why reveal themselves now? Why not wait until we actually ventured beyond our solar system?" "Because they wanted to control our first impression of the galaxy," Lisa realized. "They're shaping our perception of everything out there." 2 months after first contact, Captain Eric Mason was invited aboard the Veldari mothership along with several other military and scientific leaders. They were shown incredible technologies and beautiful holographic displays of council worlds. Everything seemed too perfect during a moment alone. Eric noticed a display showing Earth. The data was in alien script, but one section was clearly marked in red with countdown timers. His translator device caught fragments: containment, isolation, and threat assessment. That same evening, in a secure chamber aboard the mothership, Ambassador Zixtar communicated with the inner circle of the Galactic Council. The 12 holographic figures represented the oldest and most powerful species in the known galaxy. "Report on the human situation," commanded the central speaker, a being of pure energy contained in a crystalline form. "Humans are proceeding." "Exactly as predicted," Zixtar replied. "They are eager, trusting, and completely unaware of our true purpose. The monitoring devices embedded in our gifts are now active in all major human power centers. And their potential threat level?" asked another council member. "Confirmed as Class 5 expansionist. Their adaptability and aggression indexes are among the highest we've encountered. Their technological progress is accelerating beyond acceptable parameters. They have already begun to examine our gifts with suspicion, but it is too late." "Has the containment plan been initiated?" Zixtar's multifaceted eyes glinted in the dim light. "Yes, Phase 1 is complete. The humans believe they are being welcomed to the galactic community, while we systematically analyze their weaknesses and establish control mechanisms throughout their world. By the time they realize the truth, isolation protocols will be fully implemented." "Excellent," said the central speaker. "The containment of humanity must be absolute. They cannot be allowed to spread beyond their solar system." What none of them realized was that Captain Eric Mason had managed to record fragments of their conversation through a small device he had hidden earlier. As he slipped away from the mothership in his shuttle, he clutched the evidence that would confirm Sam Harris's suspicions and Lisa Wright's fears. The Galactic Council had plans for humanity, but they had severely underestimated the species they sought to contain. 6 months had passed since the Veldari made first contact with Earth. The initial excitement had settled into a comfortable routine as humans eagerly shared their history, culture, and technology with their new alien friends. Cities around the world now featured Veldari technology, sleek medical scanners in hospitals, enhanced communication arrays on buildings, and energy converters that had reduced power costs by 30%. Commander Sam Harris stared at the recording captain. Eric Mason had smuggled from the alien mothership. Though fragmentary, the implications were clear. The Galactic Council saw humans as a threat, not as equals. "We need more evidence," Sam said, turning to Dr. Lisa Wright. They sat in her laboratory, which she had carefully swept for monitoring. "Devices. Without concrete proof, no one will believe us, especially with all the benefits the aliens have brought." Lisa nodded, her dark hair falling across her face as she leaned toward her computer. "I've been analyzing the alien medical scanners they installed in Boston General Hospital. They're collecting far more data than they claim. They've already scanned over 50,000 humans, cataloging genetic markers and what appear to be potential weaknesses in our biology. Sam rubbed his tired eyes. We need help. I can't use official channels. Too many people in government are completely taken in by the Veldari. I know someone who might help, Lisa said. Kelly Martinez. She's an engineer who worked on the Pathfinder. She noticed irregularities in the new navigation systems the Veldari helped install. 2 days later, Sam and Lisa met Kelly in an old warehouse by the Boston Harbor. Kelly was a short woman with determined eyes and hands that never seemed to stay still. The new nav systems have a back door, Kelly explained, showing them schematics. On her tablet. It looks like it could be remotely accessed to override ship controls. I raised concerns, but my supervisor said I was being paranoid. You're not, Sam assured her. We need more people we can trust? Any suggestions? Kelly thought for a moment. Professor Alan Summers at Columbia. He's the best xenolinguist on Earth. He might find something in the Veldari communications we've missed. And Jack Russell, Lisa added. Former military officer who now works private security. He never bought into the alien friendship narrative. Within a week, their small team was assembled. Professor Summers, a tall man with kind eyes and graying hair, had converted an old classroom into their base of operations. Jack Russell, stocky and serious with a perpetual frown, handled security. I've been analyzing the Veldari language patterns, Professor Summers explained, pointing to patterns on a digital board. There are subtle shifts when they discuss certain topics with us. Their vocal tones indicate what linguists call deceptive speech patterns. They're lying about their intentions. But we still don't know their endgame, Jack said, pacing the room. What exactly are they planning to do with humanity? The answer came sooner than expected. Kelly had created a device that could intercept Veldari transmissions, and Professor Summers had programmed it to flag certain concerning terms. 3 days later, it captured a classified transmission between Ambassador Zixtar and the Galactic Council. The human containment proceeds as planned, the ambassador's translated voice said. Their integration of our monitoring technology is complete. They suspect nothing of our true purpose. The council vote is scheduled for tomorrow, replied another voice. The resolution to officially designate humans as a Class 5 expansionist threat will be approved. Quarantine procedures will commence immediately afterward. What about the resistance elements we've detected? Asked a third voice, minimal concern, Zixtar answered. Once the quarantine is established, we can deal with them at our leisure. The humans have no defense against our technology. The team listened in stunned silence. Jack was the first to speak. They're going to trap us in our own solar system, he said grimly. Cut us off from the rest of the galaxy. We need to warn. People, Lisa insisted. We have to go public with this. Sam shook his head. The Veldari control too much of our communication infrastructure now. And who would believe us? We'd be labeled as conspiracy theorists or anti-alien extremists. Then what do we do? Kelly asked, fear evident in her voice. Professor Summers had been quietly thinking. We need to preserve something they can't contain knowledge. We need to get what we know beyond their reach. The prototype, Kelly whispered, eyes widening. The Eclipse. What's that? Sam asked. A stealth vessel we were developing before the Veldari arrived, Kelly explained. It uses experimental technology to mask its energy signature. The project was shelved when the aliens offered us their superior systems. But the ship is still in the hangar at Mitchell Space Center, and I have access. They spent the next 3 days gathering all their evidence and preparing to escape Earth. Lisa downloaded everything she had discovered about Veldari technology. Professor Summers compiled his linguistic analysis. Sam collected intelligence reports on alien activities worldwide. Jack secured weapons and supplies. On the morning they planned to leave, the Veldari made their move. Massive warships appeared in Earth's orbit, far more than the 3 diplomatic vessels that had been there before. Worldwide communications were interrupted by a broadcast from Ambassador Zixtar. People of Earth, the alien began, his voice now lacking the warmth it had once held. The Galactic Council has completed its assessment of humanity. Due to your species' inherent aggression, territorial expansion tendencies, and rapid technological development, you have been classified as a Class 5 expansionist threat. For the safety of galactic civilization, Earth is now under quarantine. All interstellar travel is forbidden. Any attempt to leave your solar system will result in immediate neutralization. Panic spread across the globe as the truth became clear. The alien vessels positioned themselves in strategic locations around Earth and its moon, creating an impenetrable blockade. President Bennett demanded explanations, but the Veldari ignored all communication attempts from official channels. Amidst the chaos, Sam's team made their move. Using old access codes and the confusion of the quarantine announcement, they reached the Mitchell Space Center. The Eclipse sat untouched in its hangar, a sleek, black vessel designed to be invisible to conventional sensors. How long until they notice it missing? Jack asked as Kelly rushed through pre-flight checks. They're too busy containing major population centers and government installations, Sam replied. They don't expect resistance at this level. As the Eclipse silently lifted off, Lisa looked back at Earth through the viewport. The beautiful blue planet was now surrounded by alien warships, its people prisoners in their own home. Where do we go? She asked quietly. Sam's face was grim but determined. Wherever we can find allies. The galaxy can't all be against us. We'll find someone who will listen, and we'll find a way to free Earth. The Eclipse slipped past the Veldari blockade, its stealth systems functioning perfectly. As they prepared to jump to faster-than-light speed, Professor Summers looked at the data they carried. The Galactic Council believes they've contained humanity, he said. But they've only ensured we'll fight harder to be free. The stars stretched into lines. As the Eclipse made its jump, carrying with it humanity's hope for survival and the truth about the Galactic Council's betrayal. The Galactic Council warships formed a tight blockade around Earth. The once friendly Veldari now showed their true colors as they positioned weapons platforms throughout the solar system. No ship could enter or leave without detection. Humanity was effectively imprisoned in its own home on Earth. Panic quickly gave way to anger. Riots broke out in major cities as people demanded answers. President Olivia Bennett addressed the world from a secure bunker, her face showing the strain of recent events. Citizens of Earth, we face an unprecedented crisis, she said. The Galactic Council has betrayed our trust. But humanity will not surrender. We have survived countless challenges throughout our history, and we will survive this one. We will find a way to break this blockade. Behind closed doors, Bennett met with military leaders and scientists to plan resistance. Admiral William Clark of the Global Defense Force pounded his fist on the table. We need to fight back. We have 20 ships. With FTL capability, let's use them and face certain destruction, countered General Maria Lopez. Their weapons technology is far beyond ours. We need a different approach. President Bennett nodded. We need time and information. We must learn everything we can about our enemy while appearing to comply with their demands. For now, we make them think we've accepted our fate. Meanwhile, billions of light years away on a planet called Nova Terra, Governor Frank Collins stared in disbelief at the emergency transmission. His hands shook as he replayed the message smuggled out by the Eclipse. The truth about Earth's situation was worse than he had feared. How long before they discover us? Asked his deputy Helen Adams. Unknown, Collins replied, but we must assume the worst. The Council will be searching for any human presence beyond. So, now that they've quarantined Earth, Nova Terra was humanity's oldest and largest secret colony, established 30 years earlier as part of the classified diaspora initiative. It was home to nearly 1 million humans. The colony had strict radio silence protocols to avoid detection by any alien civilization. The truth that the Galactic Council didn't know was that humanity had been secretly exploring and colonizing space for decades before official first contact. A visionary scientist named Dr. Gregory Wells had discovered faster-than-light travel in 2057. Nearly 30 years before the Pathfinder's public test, his discovery had been immediately classified. At the highest levels, the government had created the Diaspora Initiative with a simple mission: ensure humanity's survival by establishing colonies far beyond Earth. So secret that even most of Earth's population didn't know they existed. Only a Handful of top officials and the colonists themselves knew the truth, Governor. Collins called an emergency meeting with his leadership team. They gathered in a secure underground facility deep beneath Nova Terra's main settlement. We've received confirmation that at least 11 other colonies besides us are intact and operational. Collins announced, all following radio silence protocols. None have been detected by the Council. What about Earth? Asked Defense Chief Paul Wright. Can we help them? Not directly, Collins said. Any attempt to approach Earth would reveal our existence, but there's something else. He activated a holographic display showing star maps. The eclipse is on its way here. They managed to slip through the blockade. They'll arrive in 6 days. How did they find us? Asked Helen. Our coordinates are classified. Captain Mason of the Pathfinder was one of the few who knew about the initiative. He must have shared the information with them before the blockade. This changes everything, said Science Director Corinne Phillips. If the Council discovers the eclipse's trajectory, they could follow it here. Then we need to prepare, Collins said firmly. Alert all colonies using the quantum communication network. We need to coordinate our response across 12 distant star systems. Human colonies receive the coded alert. Colony worlds with names like Avalon, Liberty, Haven, and New Horizon, all hidden from the Council's knowledge, began preparing for the possibility of discovery on Avalon, the most technologically advanced colony. The message was received with particular concern. Governor LaVarra immediately consulted with her military advisor, General John Carter. If the Council finds even one colony, they'll search for others, Carter said. We need a defensive strategy. More than that, Reed replied. We need to help Earth. Back on Earth, Admiral Clark secretly gathered a small group of loyal officers. They met in an old submarine base, converted to handle space operations. The President wants compliance, but I disagree, Clark told them. We need to test the blockade, find weaknesses, look for patterns in their patrol schedules. Lieutenant Dan Cooper, a young tactical officer, raised his hand. Sir, I've been analyzing their movements. There's a pattern. A small gap appears near Mars every 14 hours, lasting approximately 6 minutes. Not enough time to get a large ship through. Clark mused, but maybe a probe or a small messenger vessel. To where, sir? Asked another officer. We have nowhere to go. Clark looked thoughtful. Maybe we do have. Any of you heard rumors about something called the Diaspora Initiative? Some officers exchanged glances. A few nodded slowly. I thought it was just a myth, one said, a conspiracy theory. I'm not so sure, Clark replied, and if I'm right, we may have allies among the stars. Meanwhile, on a distant Council world, Ambassador Zixtar met with Admiral Krenzer, the Veldari military leader, assigned to manage the human containment. The blockade is holding, Krenzer reported. The humans appear to be accepting their situation. Do not be deceived, Zixtar warned. I have studied these creatures. They are unpredictable and resourceful. Continue maximum surveillance. There is one anomaly, Krenzer admitted. A small vessel may have slipped through during the initial blockade establishment. We are investigating its possible trajectory. Zixtar's multifaceted eyes narrowed. Find humans are dangerous precisely because they do not give up. If even one escaped the containment, we must assume they have a plan. 6 days after escaping Earth, the eclipse approached Nova Terra. The colony was hidden on a seemingly uninhabitable ice moon orbiting a gas giant. The settlement itself was mostly underground with only minimal surface structures. As the eclipse entered the system, Kelly Martinez noticed something on the sensors. We're being scanned, she said, alarmed. Have we been followed? Sam Harris checked the readings. No, it's different from Veldari technology. The energy signature is human. Professor Summers, who had been studying the sensor data, looked up with surprise. They're using quantum entanglement communication, sending us landing coordinates. The technology is decades beyond what Earth had when we left. How is that possible? Lisa Wright asked. The answer became clear as they landed their ship in a massive underground hangar. Dozens of advanced vessels filled the space. Many looked more sophisticated than anything on Earth. Governor Collins personally greeted them as they disembarked. Welcome to Nova Terra, he said, one of humanity's 38 colonies beyond. Council Space 38. Jack Russell repeated in shock. How? The Diaspora Initiative, Collins explained. For nearly 30 years, we've been establishing colonies far from Earth, always in secret, always maintaining radio silence, preparing for the day humanity might face an existential threat. But the FTL drive was only unveiled 6 months ago. Lisa said. Confused Collins smiled. That was the public unveiling. Earth has had faster-than-light capability for 3 decades. The Pathfinder was just the first official FTL ship. The Council thinks they've contained humanity on Earth, Sam realized, but humanity is already spread across the stars. Exactly, Collins replied. And now that we know the Council's true nature, we can finally reveal ourselves and help Earth, he led them deeper into the colony where representatives from other human settlements were already gathering via secure communication links. The Council believes they've outlawed humanity from the galaxy. But it's already too late. We're already here. And we're not going anywhere. On the edge of Council space, a patrol ship detected unusual energy readings near an uninhabited system. As it moved to investigate, 3 ships of unknown design suddenly appeared seemingly out of nowhere. The patrol ship sent one brief distress signal before being disabled by weapons. Technology the Council had never seen before the human counterattack had begun. News of the missing patrol ship spread quickly through Council space. Admiral Krenzer received the report with growing concern. The ship had disappeared near the Vega sector, an area thought to be uninhabited. 3 more vessels were sent to investigate. None returned. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. Representatives from 300 species gathered in the Great Chamber on the capital world. Nexus, the central speaker, a being of pure energy contained in a crystalline form, addressed the assembly. We face an unexpected development in the human containment situation. The speaker announced, evidence suggests human activity beyond the Sol system. This contradicts all our intelligence, which indicated they achieved faster than light travel only recently. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Ambassador Zixtar stepped forward. The humans must have deceived us, he said. They must have sent ships before we established contact. Impossible, argued a representative from the Altari. Species our monitoring stations would have detected their ships. Unless, said another council member thoughtfully, their technology is different from what we expected. Fear began to grow among the council members. The idea that humans might have developed undetectable FTL, travel, and establish colonies without their knowledge was deeply disturbing. The implications were clear if humans could hide their expansion. The Council's control of the galaxy was not as absolute as they believed on. The colony world Avalon Dr. Nicole Palmer worked tirelessly in her laboratory. She was humanity's leading expert on shield technology and had been working on a revolutionary design for years. Now, with the knowledge of the Council's hostility, her work had taken on new urgency. Test sequence complete, announced her assistant Ryan Baker. Shield integrity at 100%, even against simulated Council weapons. Nicole nodded, reviewing the data on her screen. The multilayer quantum field is holding the Council's energy weapons can't penetrate it. How soon can we deploy it to the fleet? Asked General John Carter, who had been observing the test. 2 weeks for the larger ships. Nicole replied, less for smaller vessels. The technology is ready. We just need to scale up production. General Carter smiled. The Council thinks they're hunting scattered humans with primitive technology. They have no idea what they're really facing. While the colonies prepared their defenses, Sam Harris and Lisa Wright worked with Novaterra's intelligence division. They had brought valuable information about the Council's communication protocols and technology. We've identified at least 20 species within the Council who secretly oppose the treatment of humans, Sam explained to Governor Collins. They're afraid to speak openly, but they might help us. Can we trust this information? Collins asked. Our infiltrators have confirmed it, replied Marcus Reed, Novaterra's intelligence chief. We've had human agents posing as member species for years. This was another revelation that surprised the Earth refugees. Human colonies had developed advanced disguised technology, allowing operatives to pass as various alien species. These spies had infiltrated Council worlds, gathering intelligence and establishing contact with potential allies. How is this possible? Lisa asked. How could colonies advance so far beyond Earth? Necessity and freedom, Marcus explained. The colonies were established with Earth's best scientists and engineers, without the political constraints of Earth governments. We could pursue technologies that would have been restricted back home. Each colony specialized in different areas. Avalon focused on defensive systems, Haven on stealth technology, Liberty on weapons. Meanwhile, on Earth, President Bennett received a coded message through channels unknown to the Veldari. It was brief but changed everything. You are not alone. 38 colonies exist. Prepare for contact in 30 days. Bennett shared this information only with her most trusted advisors, Admiral Clark among them. I knew it, Clark said triumphantly. The Diaspora Initiative was real. This changes our strategy, Bennett said. We need to hold out and be ready when they come, but we must keep this secret from the Veldari. What about the people? Asked General Lopez. They're losing hope. Give them something else. Bennett decided, start a resistance movement, nothing that can actually threaten the Veldari, but enough to keep people focused, and the aliens distracted. Let them chase shadows while we prepare for the real. Counterattack across Council space. Reports of human sightings began to multiply. A trading outpost reported contact with merchants who were later suspected to be humans in disguise. A research station found its data systems accessed by unknown means. Council military vessels reported being scanned by unidentifiable sensors. Admiral Krenzer was given full authority to handle what the Council now called the human infestation. He commanded a fleet of 50 warships with orders to locate and eliminate any human presence outside the Sol system. The humans cannot have gone far, he told his captains. They are primitive and disorganized. We will find them easily. One of his officers, Subcommander Verlona, appeared hesitant. Admiral, the missing ships concern me. The humans should not have technology capable of defeating our patrols. They got lucky, Krenzer dismissed. Perhaps they found an abandoned vessel from a more advanced species. We will crush them when we find them. What Krenzer didn't know was that his fleet's movements were being tracked by human stealth probes. The colonies knew exactly where the Council forces were and where they were heading on Avalon. Governor Lavra Reed met with representatives from 11 other colonies via secure quantum communication. Each colony had sent its best military and scientific leaders to coordinate the human response. The Council fleet is moving toward the Vega sector, reported Admiral Steve Williams, commander of the Human Defense Forces. They'll reach the outer marker in 3 days. Are our forces in position? Reed asked. Yes. The Avalon Defense Fleet is ready. Our new shields are operational. What about communications? Reed asked, turning to Communications Director Ellen Park. We've established contact with our allies within the Council, Park replied. 1/3 of the Council races secretly oppose the treatment of humans. They're providing intelligence and will openly support us when the time comes. And Earth. We've made contact with President Bennett. The Earth resistance is preparing for our arrival in the void of space near the edge of the Vega sector. Admiral Krenzer's fleet approached with confidence. Their sensors showed nothing unusual ahead. Just empty space and a small uninhabitable planet. Preliminary scans show no sign of technology or life forms, reported his sensor officer. Expand the search pattern, Krenzer ordered. They must be hiding somewhere. As the Council ships spread out to search the system, hidden sensors triggered silent alarms on Avalon. The colony was located beneath the surface of what the Council believed to be an uninhabitable world. Through advanced terraforming and shield technology, the humans had created a thriving settlement completely invisible to standard scans. Governor Reed received the alert and turned to Admiral Williams. They're here. It's time. Williams nodded and gave the order. Operation Revelation is go. All ships prepare for emergence. Throughout the system, hidden human vessels powered up their engines. Ships that had been concealed by advanced stealth technology suddenly appeared on Council sensors. Dozens, then hundreds of vessels of various sizes materialized around the Council fleet. Aboard his flagship, Admiral Krenzer stared in shock at the tactical display. Impossible, he whispered. Where did they come from? Before he could order his fleet to attack, a transmission came through on all frequencies. Admiral Krenzer, this is Admiral Steve Williams of the Terran Alliance. You are surrounded. Your weapons are ineffective against our shields. We offer you the opportunity to withdraw or surrender. We do not negotiate with outlawed species, Krenzer replied angrily. The Council has declared humans contained. You will be destroyed. Williams sighed. We hoped for a diplomatic solution. Very well. The Council fleet opened fire. Its energy weapons streaked toward the human ships, but the new shields developed on Avalon held firm. The human vessels didn't even attempt to evade. "Continue firing," Krenzer ordered desperately. "Target their engines." The Council weapons had no effect. Then the human ships began their own attack, not with energy weapons as expected, but with targeted electromagnetic pulses that disabled the Council ship systems without destroying them. One by one, the mighty Council vessels went dark as his own flagship lost power. Admiral Krenzer realized the terrible truth: the humans hadn't just escaped containment. They had been preparing for this moment for decades, the Galactic Council's greatest. Fear had come true. Humanity was loose in the galaxy, and they were far more advanced than anyone had imagined. News of Admiral Krenzer's defeat spread rapidly across Council space. The mighty Veldari fleet disabled without a single shot fired against them. The Galactic Council fell into chaos as member species demanded explanations. Some called for all-out war against the humans. Others suggested negotiation was the only reasonable path on. Earth. The Veldari blockade suddenly faced a new threat. Ships appeared at the edge of the solar system. Unlike the simple vessels of Earth, these were advanced warships. With technology that matched or exceeded the Council's own, they bore the markings of human colonies: Avalon, Novatara, Liberty, and others. The blockade commander transmitted a warning: "Unidentified vessels, this system is under Council quarantine. Withdraw immediately." The response was simple: "We are the Terran Alliance. You are blockading our homeworld. You will withdraw your forces, or they will be disabled like Admiral Krenzer's fleet. The choice is yours." To demonstrate their resolve, the lead alliance ship fired a precision weapon that disabled the engines of the commander's vessel without harming its crew. The message was clear: the blockade could not stand on the planet below. President Bennett addressed her advisors: "The colony ships are breaking through. They'll reach Earth in hours. The Veldari blockade is falling back. Should we prepare a military response?" asked General Lopez. Bennett shook her head. "No, we must show we're better than that. Prepare a diplomatic welcome. The colonies are offering us a chance to rejoin humanity's greater family. We should embrace it." The first ships to land carried humanitarian supplies, medical technology, and representatives from each major colony. They were greeted by cheering crowds. As heroes, Sam, Harris, Lisa Wright, and the crew of the Eclipse, who had escaped months earlier, returned as well, bringing with them knowledge of the wider human presence in the galaxy. Governor Collins of Novatara met with President Bennett in what had once been the United Nations headquarters in New York. "I still can't believe it," Bennett said. 38 colonies all this time. "The Diaspora Initiative was the best-kept secret in human history," Collins replied. "Only those who needed to. No, we're told 100 ships were sent out over 30 years, each carrying the best humanity had to offer. We were the insurance policy in case Earth ever faced extinction. And now you've saved us? We're all one people, Madam President. The colonies never forgot Earth. We always planned to reunite when the time was right. The Council just forced our hand." While Earth celebrated its liberation, the Galactic Council faced its greatest crisis. The central speaker called an emergency session with representatives from all member species. "The human situation has become untenable." The speaker declared, "Their technology exceeds our projections. They have established a significant presence throughout the galaxy without our knowledge. Our containment strategy has failed completely. We should unleash our full military might," argued the Veldari representative. "Crush these upstarts before they spread further." "Your fleet was disabled without firing a shot," countered the representative from the Altaria species, known for their logical thinking. "What makes you think more ships would fare better? There is another concern," added a representative from the Morrigan, a species known for their prescience. "Many Council races secretly sympathize with the humans. A third of our members have already indicated they would not support military action." The debate raged for days until a surprising development changed everything. A human delegation requested permission to address the Council. Reluctantly, the speaker granted their request. Captain Eric Mason, once commander of the Pathfinder, now led the human diplomatic mission. He stood tall before the assembled representatives of 300 alien civilizations. The Galactic Council declared humanity outlawed. He began, his voice steady. "You sought to contain us on our homeworld, cut off from the stars, but it was already too late. We had spread beyond your reach. Established Colonies developed technologies you hadn't anticipated we could continue this conflict, but that is not our wish. Murmurs spread through the chamber as Mason continued, "We come with an offer peace and cooperation. The human colonies form the Terran Alliance. We seek recognition as equals, not enemies. We bring new perspectives, new technologies, and new solutions to old problems. We ask the Council to reconsider its position on humanity." The central speaker's crystalline form pulsed with energy. "You speak of peace after displaying military force. Why should we trust humans, Doctor?" Lisa Wright stepped forward. "Because unlike the Council, we didn't begin with deception. We disabled your ships without destroying them. We could have attacked Earth's blockade from the beginning, but chose a more difficult path to minimize casualties. Our actions show our true intentions." The debate that followed lasted for weeks. During this time, more evidence emerged of the Council leadership's long history of containing threatening species. Human intelligence agents revealed documents showing the Council had isolated dozens of species throughout its history. Many Council members were shocked by these revelations. The coalition supporting humans grew stronger. Several species even admitted they had been secretly trading with human colonies. For years on the neutral planet Nexus, representatives from the Council and the Terran Alliance gathered for final negotiations. The human delegation included leaders from Earth and the colonies. Captain Mason, now a key diplomatic figure, represented Earth's interests. Dr. Wright brought her scientific expertise. Governor Reed from Avalon and Governor Collins from Nova Terra spoke for the colonies. Across from them sat the central speaker, the Veldari ambassador, Zixtar, and representatives from major council species. The negotiations were tense but productive. Over weeks, a new framework emerged. The Galactic Council would be reformed, its policy of containment abandoned. Human colonies would be recognized, and Earth's quarantine lifted. As the final documents were being prepared, Ambassador Zixtar made one last desperate move. The Veldari had secretly prepared a doomsday weapon aimed at Earth. If they couldn't contain humanity, they would eliminate its homeworld. The humans cannot be trusted, Zixtar argued before the Council. They are too dangerous, too unpredictable. If we accept them now, they will dominate us within a century. This weapon is our last chance to protect galactic civilization, but the Veldari had underestimated humanity again. The Human Intelligence Network had discovered the weapon. Dr. Wright had developed countermeasures based on the technology she had studied when the aliens first arrived. When the weapon activated, nothing happened. The quantum disruption field created by human ships neutralized it completely. Zixtar and his supporters were arrested by Council security forces. Their plot exposed, they lost all remaining support. 1 year later, representatives from over 1,000 worlds gathered on Nexus to sign the new Galactic Charter. For the first time, the document included human signatures. Earth had taken its place among the stars. The colonies were recognized as sovereign worlds united under the Terran Alliance banner. The policy of containment was officially abandoned, replaced by principles of cooperation and mutual respect. Dr. Lisa Wright stood by a window watching the delegates arrive. She had come a long way from her laboratory on Earth studying alien technology. Now she was one of humanity's most respected voices in interstellar affairs. Captain Eric Mason joined her. "Quite a view, isn't it?" She nodded. "Did you ever imagine this when you first commanded the Pathfinder?" "Never. I thought we'd be exploring the stars for centuries before finding alien life. Instead, we found a galactic community that feared us." "Fear is a poor foundation for policy," Lisa said. "The Council tried to contain something they didn't understand, and it almost led to their downfall. The irony is they accelerated exactly what they feared," Eric noted. "If they had approached us honestly, we might have expanded at a normal pace. Instead, they forced us to reveal our colonies and unite under threat. The stars were meant to be our prison," Lisa said, watching the ships arrive from hundreds of worlds. "Instead, they became our home." As the new Galactic Charter was signed, humanity took its place in the wider universe. The Council that had once outlawed them now welcomed them as equals. The species that had been feared was now admired for its resilience and ingenuity. The containment that was meant to limit humanity had only pushed it to reach further, faster, and with greater determination than ever before. The Galactic Council had outlawed humanity, but it was already too late. Human spirit could not be contained. Human ingenuity could not be suppressed. And human determination would not be denied. The stars had always been humanity's destiny, the Council had merely hastened their arrival.